always said that simula at wakas is not just an end, but also a beginning. What kind of beginning are you talking about?
They told us from the very beginning that everything is connected. They showed us not just music videos, but a story that is meticulously told. We thought we were just watching eras pass by, but if you look at the clues they left behind, the mirrors, the clocks, the gold, you realize we weren't just watching a career. We were watching a loop. For years, we've seen them move through time, space, and memory. We were witnessing a story so cyclical that the beginning and the end are happening at the exact same moment. This is the story of 5 people chosen to fix a world that had already ended.
당신의 사랑이 뭔지 알게 될 거예요.
Please hold on. It's just
누군가를 아주 많이 좋아하고 있군요. 표현도 잘 안 되고. 어떻게 해야 할지 모르겠죠? 한 장씩 고르세요.
A world on the brink of demise. We see 5 boys before a woman who doesn't quite belong to our world. Maybe she is an observer, a scout for an extraterrestrial race from the future that has seen the end of the human timeline. She holds cards, keys to the simulation. She asks them, "What color is your love?" But what if she isn't looking for romance? What if she is scanning for the frequency of their passion and their will to fight? Each member draws a card and enters a doorway, and so the recruitment begins. Each must face their own journey, overcome their own challenges, and reunite with the others to pass the test, and finally, to launch the mission. As they walk into the blinding white light, their physical bodies are stripped away, and they are uploaded into a cosmic mission to find a cure for time itself. But something malfunctions during the upload. They're still just boys after all, and maybe their bodies haven't yet learned to handle the strain of time jumping. And the system glitches. It is their very first time jump after all, and they are still just boys. Perhaps their bodies have yet to adapt to the strain of traveling through time. Instead of arriving in the same timeline, the 5 souls are scattered across what can only be described as the subconscious of time. Rather than reaching their intended destination, they are thrown into this sort of fragmented archive of history, pieces of different eras colliding into one another. Pablo, meanwhile, is trapped somewhere in between, the silent darkness that exists between dimensions. They arrive together at first, but as the timeline begins to glitch, the other 4 are suddenly pulled away into different eras. Pablo, however, is left behind, stranded in the void. Ken awakens in a strange 19th century steampunk world. Determined to find the others, he scavenges whatever parts he can and begins building something of his own. A navigator, if you will. A hat covered in dials, gears, and clocks designed to guide him through the chaos of time itself. Justin is thrown far beyond the atmosphere, cast into space. From there, he becomes the watchtower, looking down upon the planet Earth. The world itself also begins to unravel. Newspapers from the 1800s report present-day headlines, as if time itself has started bleeding through its own pages. Josh lands in what seems like the modern era, but the jump has altered something within him. His DNA carries an infection from the past, a piece of the 18th century vampirism now running through his veins. Amid this chaos, Stell still fulfills the mission entrusted to him without knowing whether it will ever work. He plants the seed. What he does not realize yet is that the seed he plants will become the anchor for the future, the beginning of the cure they will spend the rest of their journey trying to find. Somewhere along their separate journeys, they eventually find their way back to one another. Reunited at last, they continue the mission together. In this timeline, however, something is different. The uniforms they wear suggest that they are older and that they are no longer just boys lost in time, but soldiers, possibly from the future, brought together by a mission far greater than they once understood. The group makes another time jump, and this time, they arrive prepared. Unlike before, they are no longer inexperienced travelers lost in time. With everything they've learned from their scattered journeys, they establish a hidden safe house, a place where they can regroup, share what they've discovered, and plan their next move together. After surviving multiple jumps across fractured timelines, they now understand the dangers of moving through time. Spread across the table is a map of the Philippines. It's possible they're trying to trace the exact location where Stell planted the seed, the key that could lead them back to the moment it finally sprouts. Because by now, they've realized something important. Time travel isn't just about when, it's also about where. On the table sits an upgraded version of Ken's original invention. What began as the hat he built to navigate the chaos of time has evolved into something more advanced, a device capable of performing a synchronized jump, allowing them to travel together with a lesser chance of being scattered across timelines again. But there's something unsettling about this timeline. Somehow the group is being recorded. Cameras quietly capture their movements inside the bunker, suggesting that someone, or perhaps something, has been observing their journey. Confident in their plan, the group prepares for another jump. The group lands in an era deep in the past, possibly the 70s or 80s. It's a time they clearly don't belong in. And more importantly, not the moment they were trying to reach. As they move through the space, a fork falls to the ground. A small accident, but symbolically, it feels like a universal signal. Someone here doesn't belong. Someone among them is a stranger to this time. On the radio, an announcer speaks about a strange, futuristic-looking device, and about 5 men leaving the scene. The timing feels too precise to be a coincidence.
Strange times we live in. Just a few moments ago, what seemed like a gadget from the future was found in Manila. Incidentally, an eyewitness caught sight of 5 unidentified men leaving the scene. Currently, the location of these men are yet to be known.
Then we see the group using something even more out of place, a modern smartphone in an era where such technology doesn't exist yet. Could this be the very device the announcer is talking about? To avoid suspicion, their time travel device is now disguised as a simple cassette tape, but hidden inside it is the power that allows them to make their next jump. The device malfunctions yet again. As Justin taps the cassette player, it suddenly triggers unstable jumps, scattering them across multiple places and moments in time. During one of these jumps, they may have even landed in a completely different country, still within the same timeline, but far from where they were before. If that's the case, this could be what the radio reporter was talking about. And once again, someone is seen recording them. By the end of the video, the 5 of them appear in completely different locations. It's as if they've paused for a moment, regrouping, catching their breath before the next leg of the journey. Then, a message appears on their devices asking a simple question. Maybe this is a signal for their next jump. They emerge into a world that once felt familiar, but now seems almost unrecognizable. Something about it has changed. The narrator speaks of a fragile sprout, the last of its kind. It floats at the center of what looks like an entire galaxy, surrounded by cosmic light and fragments of stars. It's no ordinary plant. It's more than wood and leaves. It is the key they have been searching for all along, the very seed that was planted in the past. But something is wrong. The sprout is struggling to survive, as if the timeline itself is unstable. Realizing they cannot complete the mission alone, the group begins to encounter others, people who may help them protect the sprout and ensure its survival. Allies who could play a crucial role in what comes next. The narrator then speaks of a prophecy, that this fragile sprout will one day save humanity. For too long, the insatiable greed of mankind has pushed the world past its limits. In their hunger for progress and power, humans have disrupted the natural course of life itself, fracturing time, destabilizing the world, and bringing it to the edge of collapse. And in this moment, the five finally understand. They see why they were chosen, why they were sent across broken timelines, scattered through history, and forced to endure the chaos of time itself. Because their mission was never just about finding the seed. It was about protecting it and changing the very beginning of the end. The tree is there now, the very key meant to change the course of time and prevent the fall of the human race. But something isn't right. Everything looks the same. The world hasn't changed. The collapse they were trying to prevent still lingers in the air. Something is still missing. The prophecy they believed in, the one that guided their entire journey, was incomplete. The tree alone was never enough. So the search continues. With the help of the allies and friends they have found along the way, the group keeps looking. They keep digging deeper into the broken layers of history. The treasures that humanity once valued no longer mean anything to them. They are searching for something far more important. Meanwhile, time and space continue to unravel. Doorways begin to interlock, opening paths that send travelers to entirely different places and moments. The subconscious of time itself seems to be folding inward, collapsing under the weight of too many fractured timelines. But they can't give up now, not after everything they've been through. The five men even built an entire city overflowing with gold, symbols of the wealth humanity once worshipped. Yet despite all of it, their focus remains on one thing alone, giving life to the tree. Because the sprout has grown, it's no longer a fragile seedling, but it is still barren. And then, finally, the truth reveals itself. From beyond the earth, unseen observers watch everything unfold. Beings from somewhere far beyond this world have been witnessing the entire journey. Was this all still a test? One extraterrestrial being turns to another and asks a question we've heard before. What color is your love?
당신의 사랑은 어떤 색인가요?
The answer, gold. Did the five finally pass the test? Have they shown that they are not tempted by greed? Have they proven that they are ready for the real sacrifice required to change the fate of the world? They are then transported somewhere beyond, a place that feels detached from the world they know. Here, together with the allies they have gathered throughout their journey, they are prepared for the final transition, the last step of the mission. One final jump meant to correct what was broken, a jump to the point where the end of one timeline becomes the beginning of another. The final mission, the final jump. At last, the moment has arrived, and they are ready. Years of searching, surviving, and piecing together fragments of broken timelines have all led them here. They are sent into what seems like a parallel universe, perhaps an underworld, a world that has already ended, yet must begin again so that our world can live. Here, each of them gains abilities that reflect their strengths, powers shaped by who they are and what they have endured. But the journey has been long and unforgiving, and the weight of it all begins to show. One by one, they feel themselves slowly succumbing to the darkness within. The greatest battle is no longer against time. It is against themselves. To move forward, they must confront their own inner demons, and in doing so, they help each other find the strength to keep going. Meanwhile, the allies they gathered along the way now stand guard outside a looming castle. Inside its walls lies the one thing they have been searching for all this time, the book that holds the full prophecy, because in the end, this final step was always meant for the five of them alone. Summoning the last of their strength, they finally find it, the answer to everything, and when they read it, the truth becomes clear. The sacrifice required to restore the world is far greater than they ever imagined, because the prophecy was never asking them to save the world. It was asking them to give themselves for it. To give it a new beginning, they had to give up their place in it. The five of them perform their final act of sacrifice, and as their bodies turn to stone, the tree awakens. Its branches stretching toward the sky, its leaves shimmering with the light of rebirth. At last, the prophecy has been fulfilled. The same woman from the very beginning appears once more, now bearing a different form, a new presence. She takes the fruit into her hands, the symbol of a world renewed. At last, what had already ended can begin again. The ultimate sacrifice, to give one's life so that others may live. And perhaps, in that moment, the story of the five men could have ended. It should have. After all, that was the prophecy, right? But their sacrifice, by giving themselves up, they allowed the world to begin again. The broken flow of time was mended, and life was given the chance to start anew. They believed they were giving up their place in the world so that everyone else could have one. But the universe does not forget acts of true love and selflessness, And so, in the aftermath of their sacrifice, something remarkable happened. The same act that restored the world also opened the door for them to begin again. Because sometimes, when a story seems to end, it is only the beginning of a new chapter yet to be written.